Tupac's greatest hits. Speaking of changes, I wanna change this game like I'm losing in Madden, 30-6. Like that, y'all. Some people they fiend for things they've already seen. I think they wanted me to be like that, y'all. But it wasn't my scene. I started doing these things that made them say they can't do it like that, y'all. Hell no, they can't do it like that, y'all. Hell no, they can't do it like that, y'all. Hell no, they can't do it like that. Hold up. Without a day, without a day. Hey, somebody better tell Ellen that I'm on the way. Somebody tell Charlamagne, hey, I'm on the way. There ain't a stage in this world that I couldn't play. Coachella with a full live band would make sense. DJ sets at some.
What is up, Like City, and welcome back. That track you just heard is Like That. It's by my friends K-Fi and Jinx Universe, and I needed a new song to bring in the new year, and it's like that. That's why I chose that song. I wanted to highlight my good buddy Jinx and just change the vibe of the podcast, because it's changing a little bit, and I want to talk about that. And that's what this is. I want to give a quick update of what's going on with the Spokast podcast. The last episode I released was on December 11th. And that was not the plan. I have a couple more episodes to release that were supposed to come at the end of last month, but I just needed a break from editing and posting on social. And I also wanted just to take time to reflect on the direction of Spokast, the podcast, and Spokast, the business in general as well. Like, I won't lie, last year, too many of my Spokast episodes were somewhat forced, and that has a lot to do with saying yes to people who ask to come on the podcast, which is what Spokast is about. It's about showcasing people that are doing cool things in Spokane. And don't get me wrong, even if they were forced, I love doing most, if not all of them. I can't think of a podcast that I didn't enjoy last year, but I just was over encumbered with a ton of episodes, and trying to release a podcast every week meant pushing many of the podcasts out, and that probably meant that I didn't edit them as well as I should have. I definitely didn't support most of them, if not all of them, on social as well as I could have. And that has a lot to do with just like being busy with podcasting, all the other podcasts I help produce, and I when people come on the podcast, I want them to have an experience, and then I want to be able to like support them through social media posts and like showcase what they're doing. And I did that for the most part for everyone that was on the show, but I want to do more, and I think I found some ways to do more of that, but that means I need to cut back and do a little bit less podcasts. So going forward, Spokast is still going to be semi-weekly. I'm going to try to release episodes weekly, but I want each episode that I release to be intentional. So each episode will be a little bit different. I want to do some episodes that will be just me talking about what's going on with Spokast and other things going on in my life, kind of like what I'm doing right now. I'm going to do interviews still. In fact, a little teaser, the next episode of Spokast that I will be releasing is an interview with Chef Chad White. He's the owner of Zona Blanca and TT's Old Iron Barbecue and Brewery. And it's an amazing episode. I had such a good conversation with him, but it went for like 3 hours. So that's going to take at least another week to edit and get it to where I want it to be. So sorry, Chad. But I want all these interviews to be intentional as well. I want to interview people that are truly making a difference in our world, and I don't want to limit that to just people in Spokane. If they're in Spokane, great, but I want to have more conversations and more focus on people doing good in our world. Like I said, I want all this to be done with intention, and I also want to have some of my Spokast episodes be conversations with my friends, collaborators, my wife, my kids, and talk to people that have inspired me and been with me and over the last 40 years. And it's all done with intention. And I really think that what I can create here is something that I think everyone will want to listen to. Now, do I expect people to listen? That is up to you. I believe what I do here at Spokast is important. I think it's fun to listen to. I try to make it interesting. I try to keep everything. If it's like me just talking, I try to keep those short. I try to do a lot of different things here. And I know a lot of people are listening to my podcast because I see the stats. but I don't hear from a lot of people. I don't hear from a lot of listeners. I want to hear from the listeners. I want to hear from you. I want to have you ask me questions. I want you to give me feedback, good or bad. I want you to recommend guests. Give me your ideas of other things I should be talking about. I want to make this more of a podcast where people can collaborate with me and feel that they're a part of Spokast, the podcast. I don't want to be on an island just making podcasts on a weekly basis and not hear from people listening. So if you hear something that you like it on Instagram, share it with your friends, do those type of things. Leave me reviews on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. I'm going to start releasing all my episodes on YouTube, so you can also, give me thumbs up there, give me comments there. But I'm going to give you the best 3 ways to do this. The best 3 ways to communicate with Brennan at Spokast. Then one way you can do it is you can slide into my DMs at spokast.co on Instagram. You can email me at hello@spokast.com. You can leave a message on Spotify or YouTube, like I just mentioned. And I can't wait to hear from you. Please, if you're listening to this now, stop listening. You don't need to listen to any more of it. Go leave a comment at one of those 3 places, and just give me feedback, give me questions, recommend guests. I still want to interview people that people want to listen to, even if it doesn't necessarily mean that I know them. I didn't know Chad White before he came on the podcast. Really, I've met him a couple times, but it was just one of those instances where he was on my list of people I wanted to interview when Spokast originally started. So that was a big get for me. I have a lot of other people that I want to have on the podcast. I have someone lined up that will hopefully come on in February that has lived in Spokane for most of his life, and he's does a lot of things with biohacking. And so I'm very, very excited for what Spokast is going to become in 2024, and I'm excited for you to listen to it. I don't want to keep you much longer because I know that your time is precious, and listening to me ramble on about how much I'm going to make Spokast better is boring, and I'm just going to start doing it. And not saying it was bad. I'm just saying I want it to be different. Spokast at the end of last year ended up becoming a thing that I got anxious about, and I was dreading releasing episodes because I needed to get them out. And I don't want to do that for anyone anymore. I want to take time to release episodes. I want it to be intentional. That's maybe my word for 2024. So with all that, I will see you soon. I will be back with a Spokast episode next week. It will be on some shape or form. It won't be an interview. It will be I want to talk more about my birthday and other things going on in my world. And I also can't end this episode without thanking my amazing Patreon supporters, the Spokastonites. They are Joe Van Voorhis, Elizabeth Geyer, Abby Pointer, Gina Campbell, Tyler Poole, Judy Pointer, Zach Hawkins, Amber Sparks, Luke Baumgarten, Valerie Ozier, Nick Spanger, and Elizabeth and Bill Pointer. Thank you all so much for being Patreon supporters. You can head over to my Patreon, and if you want to become a supporter, you can support me for as low as I think I added a tier for $3 a month. Support what I'm doing here. I use the money to make this podcast. I put all the money into making this podcast better, getting snacks for my guests, getting gifts for my guests, and that's all I got new gifts coming for my guests in 2024. And like I said, I can't wait to talk all about this more and have you experience Spokast a little bit different this year. So thank you again for listening. And one last thing, for those that are interested, for those who roasted me at my birthday, I ended my 5-year running streak on January 8th. I'm not going to talk much more about that. Because it's just a personal decision I made. I'm still going to be running, but just won't be every day. So until next time, everyone, this is Spokast. Peace. Shout out to K-Fi and Jinx Universe for letting me use their song Like That. Let's go.
is. Speaking of changes, I wanna change this game like I'm losing in Madden, 30-6. Like that, y'all. Some people they fiend for things they've already seen. I think they wanted me to be like that, y'all. But it wasn't my scene. I started doing these things that made them say they can't do it like that, y'all. Hell no, they can't do it like that, y'all. Hell no, they can't do it like that, y'all. Hell no, they can't do it like that. Hold up. Without a day, without a day. Hey, somebody better tell Ellen that I'm on the way. Somebody tell Charlamagne, hey, I'm on the way. There ain't a stage in this world that I couldn't play. Coachella with a full live band would make sense. DJ sets at Summer Jam makes sense.